After that unexpected moment with Ella in the crowded hallway, I couldn't focus during class. I kept thinking about the warmth of her body and how bold she was. Every time I tried to write notes, my mind would drift back to that moment. I could feel her presence behind me, and sometimes I would catch myself wanting to turn around just to look at her. During break time, Samuel nudged me and whispered, "See? I told you she likes you. What are you going to do about it?" I shrugged, trying to act cool, but inside my heart was racing. "Nothing, Sam. I'm the school prefect. I can't get involved in any relationship drama." But fate had other plans. Later that day, while I was organising some files in the prefect's office, Ella knocked on the door. She was wearing the neat school uniform, but something about the way she carried herself was different from other students. She smiled shyly, not at all like the bold girl from the morning. "I'm sorry about earlier," she said softly. I've been wanting to talk to you since I got here. At my old school, Queen's Model, we used to hear stories about this amazing school prefect at Solid Foundation. When I found out I was transferring here, I couldn't believe I would finally meet you." I kept my official prefect face on, but her words made my heart skip. "It's okay," I said, trying to sound professional. "But you should know that here at Solid Foundation, we take our studies very seriously." Ella moved closer to my desk, playing with the edge of her school jacket. "I know, that's one reason I wanted to come here. At Queen's Model, everyone said your school has the best WAEC results. But..." She paused, looking straight into my eyes. "They didn't mention how handsome the school prefect would be." I felt my face getting hot. No girl had ever been this direct with me before. Usually I was too busy with my duties to even notice such things. But there was something different about Ella. Maybe it was her confidence or the way she seemed to see past my prefect badge. "My neighbours, the other transfer students, they think I'm crazy," she continued with a small laugh. "They say I talk about you too much, but I can't help it. There's something special about you, Frank." Just then the bell rang for the next period. I'd never been so confused about my feelings before. As the school prefect, I was supposed to be a role model, focused on keeping order and maintaining our school's reputation. But Ella was making me question everything. We should get to class," I managed to say, gathering my files. As she turned to leave, she looked back with a smile that would haunt my thoughts for the rest of the day. "See you around, Mr. Prefect," she said softly. I stood there watching her leave, knowing that my life at Solid Foundation would never be the same again. Samuel was right. This wasn't just another girl staring at me. This was something completely different. Just then, Samuel walked into the library. When he saw us sitting close together, he gave me a knowing smile and chose a table far enough to give us privacy, but close enough to keep an eye out for teachers. As our study session continued, I found myself opening up to Ella more. We talked about our families, our dreams, and what we wanted to do after school. For the first time, I felt like someone saw me as just Frank, not the perfect prefect everyone expected me to be. But as the break time bell rang, reality hit me hard. I saw Pastor Timothy walking past the library window, and guilt washed over me. Was I letting my feelings compromise my responsibilities? After our library session, I watched as Ella hurried to meet her friends, or rather her group, which I was just starting to understand better. They always waited for her at the big mango tree near the school gate after classes. I noticed how Joy, the oldest with her chubby, fair complexion, pulled Ella aside immediately, eager to hear about our study session. From where I stood organising some papers, I could see Precious, Ella's younger sister, rolling her eyes at their excitement. Despite being younger, she carried herself with the same confidence as Ella, her fair skin glowing in the afternoon sun. Rita stood slightly apart, her chocolate complexion complementing her quiet nature, occasionally glancing at their animated conversation with a knowing smile. What I didn't know then was that every detail of our library encounter, every accidental touch, every shared look, every word spoken, would be dissected and analysed on their walk home. Joy, being Ella's closest confidant, would get the full story, complete with all the feelings Ella couldn't express during our study session. "He's different when we're alone," Ella would tell Joy excitedly as they walked home, their voices hushed despite being away from school. "It's like he drops this perfect prefect mask and becomes just Frank." "But are you sure about this?" Joy would ask, always protective of her best friend. "He has such a reputation to maintain. Pastor Timothy treats him like a son." Precious would usually walk ahead, occasionally throwing back comments like, "My sister, the one who fell for the school prefect," while Rita would quietly observe, taking in everything but saying little. What I also didn't realise was how much Ella shared with Joy. Every message I sent, every small interaction in the hallway, every subtle glance during assembly. Their friendship was the kind where no detail was too small to discuss, no feeling too insignificant to analyse. That evening, as I walked home from school, Samuel caught up with me. He could tell something was bothering me. "Frank, you've been quiet all day. Did something happen with Ella?" he asked, grinning like he already knew. I sighed. "She came to the prefect's office during break." "Sam, I don't know what to do. I've never felt this way before. She's so different." "Different how?" Samuel pressed, clearly enjoying my confusion. "She's bold but shy at the same time, and the way she talks about me, it's like she's known me forever. But I can't get involved with her, Sam. I have responsibilities. What would Pastor Timothy think if he found out his trusted prefect was getting distracted by a girl?" Just then my phone buzzed. It was a WhatsApp message from an unknown number. "Hi Frank, it's Ella. Hope you don't mind, but I got your number from the class group chat. I was wondering if you could help me catch up with some subjects. Being new here isn't easy." Samuel peeked at my phone and laughed. Well, looks like Miss Bold and Shy found a way to keep talking to you. What are you going to reply?" I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. As prefect, helping new students with their studies was part of my duty. But we both knew this wasn't just about studying. "You know what the funny thing is?" I told Samuel. "Part of me wants to say yes, not because I'm the prefect, but because I want to know more about her." I replied to her message, keeping it professional. "Hello, Ella. Yes, I can help you with your studies. We can use the library during break time tomorrow." Her response came quickly. "Thank you. You're so kind." That heart emoji made my stomach do a flip. I'd never felt so nervous about meeting someone in the library before. The next day, I could barely concentrate during morning assembly. When I spotted Ella in line with the other students, she gave me a small wave that nobody else noticed. During class, I kept thinking about our library meeting. When break time came, I headed to the library early to pick a table that wasn't too private, but also not too exposed. I didn't want people gossiping, but I also didn't want us to be completely alone. That wouldn't be proper. Ella llegó 5 minutos después, llevando sus libros de matemáticas y física. She sat next to me, closer than necessary. "These subjects are really different from how they taught them at Queen's Model," she said softly, opening her books. But instead of looking at the pages, she looked at me. "You know, Frank, I didn't just come here for better WAEC results." My heart started racing. "What do you mean?" "I heard about you long before I came here. My cousin used to attend this school, and she always talked about this amazing prefect who was different from other guys. Kind, responsible, good-looking." She blushed slightly. "I begged my parents to let me transfer here. They thought it was just about academics." I felt my face getting hot. "Ella, Before I could finish, Mrs. Johnson, the librarian, walked by our table. I quickly opened my textbook and started explaining some math problems, but my mind was spinning with what Ella had just revealed. As I tried to explain the quadratic equations, I could feel Ella's eyes on me rather than the textbook. Her hand accidentally brushed against mine as she reached for her pen, sending tingles through my body. "You know," she whispered, making sure Mrs. Johnson couldn't hear, "you're even better than what my cousin described. The way you care about everyone, how you handle your duties. But don't you ever get tired of being perfect all the time?" Her question caught me off guard. Nobody had ever asked me that before. Everyone just expected me to be the responsible prefect who never made mistakes. I'm not perfect, I admitted quietly. Sometimes it's hard, carrying all these expectations. Everyone looks up to me. The teachers, Pastor Timothy, other students. Ella moved her chair slightly closer. You don't have to be perfect with me, Frank. I like you for who you are, not just your prefect badge.